So guys, I'd love to introduce you to Jerry O'Brien. He is just an amazing human being, wicked smart. He's held executive marketing roles for companies like Red Robin Restaurant, Quiznos. Now just think about those industries, what they're going through right now, right? And he's got executive experience in marketing roles there with Coors Brewing, marketing roles at Procter and Gamble and the like. After that, for the last 10 plus years, he founded this company, What Big Brands Know, speaker, author. He spoke at my Unleash Innovation Summit. And you see the types of audiences that he speaks to. He helps companies and sales team who want to grow revenue in crowded industries. We in distribution, we are in crowded industries. It's becoming more crowded, and who want to grow during great times of change. Jerry, I got to tell you something, at our Unleash Innovation Summit, one of the things we've done over the years is we've had a photo booth, and we asked people to write out, their key mantra for what they're taking home from the summit. I don't know if you remember doing that. And I know one of the things you talk about a lot is the power of because, and maybe we'll get into it. But what I do want to do is I want to show you one of the things that I have hanging in my other office, in the other wall. I took it down. Here is a picture of my son who was there the year that you spoke at Unleash, and his mantra was exactly what you talk about, because. And so you've touched a lot of people, obviously, and my son took that away out of all the other speakers that was there. That was his mantra. So
that's amazing. How cool. That's wonderful to see that.
Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
I wish my son would have, taken one of my statements and put it on there, but he took
Fair
it.
Enough.
Yeah, cool. Jerry, let's get into it. What do you think distributors should be thinking about and doing right now in these unprecedented times, bud?
Well, I'll tell you what, as I think everyone knows, and I heard the end of what Jeannie was saying, and I think I'm going to have some overlap with some of the things she said and probably some things that other people have said. But the reality is, as far as sales and marketing, we're not in sales and marketing anymore right now, at least in the same way we've always known it. No one's out there looking to buy. They're looking to do a lot of things, but buying isn't necessarily one of them. So I'll tell you, the first thing that you need to do, and that I think all companies are doing, is serve your own people first. Your front lines, your own employees are up in arms in their lives, in their fear for their family, for their own health, for their parents' health, for their jobs, for how am I going to get through this? How long is it going to be? Your people need you to be a great leader and show them the way, like Jeannie was saying, show some caring, because your people are the ones that interface with your customers. And so before we can even talk about your customers, we need to really make sure your people are in the best position they can be in. They need to have the tools to do what you're going to ask them to do. They need to have the security. You think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all just took a couple notches down on Maslow's hierarchy, like right down to like, you got to have food, right? So everyone's running to the grocery store. Like, if we're going to shelter in place, can we still get there safely? We got to have, safety. We got mom and dad still have to live, we got to make sure we don't go to their house so we don't accidentally infect them. Like it literally is a study of how we can,
Sure, I love this. Can I just jump in on that? Because you brought me, I have a good friend of mine, a neighbor, his name's Ray DeCraney. And I just saw on his Facebook post about 3 or 4 days ago, a picture of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And what he did was he highlighted, or the graph highlighted, love, right? And he says, you know what? Right now, as long as we can put food on the table, right? The security that you're talking about, I need nothing more than love. I need nothing more than feeling belonging and love. Forget about everything else, right? Forget about prestige. Forget about self-actualization. He said, that's all I need. And you made me rethink about that. I think that's kind of what you're saying, huh?
Yeah, and if you think about your employees and the people who work for you, and you pay them money and they receive money from you, in order for them to give love, they need to give safety to their family. They need to give security. They need to give certainty, things like that. So to the extent that we can. And, our business model, what people are learning too, I think through this, it's a dramatic study of business and how it actually works. So, I do a lot of work with food distributors,
Yep.
and restaurants obviously has been huge in the news, how the restaurants are closing and they're laying off all their employees. Well, then people go, wait a minute. Well, that means that the distributors aren't distributing the food to the restaurants that the employees are selling to the people, right? So you back it up the chain, and now distributors are like, I talk to food distributors, they're already shipping 50% of their normal volume, which you think of the logistics of that and where they buy the food from and where that gets sourced from, and then the frontline salespeople, and then so it backs. All of a sudden, everyone becomes a study of business and how does it work, because everyone they know is impacted all the way up the chain. So we need to first focus on those frontline people, or none of it's going to matter.
Sure, I love it.
Then secondly,
so can I Jerry, can I ask before you go to the second thing, and this may not be a good question, and if so, just go on, all right? But are there, you're a marketing and more expert, right? Are there any marketing principles that directly tie to what you're saying? Number one, serve our frontline employees first.
Well, so obviously, it's so much today about customer experience, regardless if you're in the restaurant or distribution world or any business. What experience are you giving to your customers? And if you're thinking about that now, I mean, the marketing. So my framework starts out with, what are the insights about your customers? What is the mindset of your customers? What do your customers care about? Simply, what do they want more of or less of? And even more powerfully, what do they hope for and what do they fear? What do they hope for? What do your customers hope for and what do they fear? Now let's take that step back on that. Your employees are your customers.
Beautiful.
For years now, we've had to treat, and we always should have, our employees as if they are our customers, especially in the situation that we've been in for many years, where employees are really hard to get. There's a lot of jobs, not a lot of people to work the jobs. Now that's changing overnight. And honestly, I've talked to people in some industries that are excited to have a chance to hire all the restaurant workers, because they've been trying to hire service people in, like, let's say I talked to someone who works in assisted living. They can't wait to hire restaurant folks because they need people who can serve people. So I know there's going to be huge unemployment, but there's also people excited to hire that have money and are ready to serve their customers. So if you think about the insights of what people want more of or less of, that drives everything with your employees. Also now with the customers that you serve. Let's say that you're an electrical distributor or a food distributor. Those frontline people that you serve are small business owners, many of them.
You bet.
And now let's think about their insights. What's going on for them? It's all the same things we talked about, the family, the can I provide? And they're also thinking about their business. Am I going to fail? What do I do? What are my resources? Who do I go to? This is where you get into, what are the marketing principles today? What should we be doing today? What we should be doing today is first understanding the insights. What do they hope for? What do they fear? And then say, and one of the opportunities for a lot of distributors is to really, and the good distributors have been working on this for years now, trying to become a consultative partner. This is the best chance you have ever had to become a consultative partner with the customers you serve.
You bet.
Because they don't know what to do, and you have you have a better idea of what to do, or you can, than they do, and you can help them navigate that. You can be, and you I'm sure are, in communication with the national and state associations, maybe local if you have them. What are the resources? What are the small business resources? Where do I get loans? What if I have to lay people off? How do I do that? A lot of restaurants are laying people off. It's terrible for the employees, but they get qualified to get unemployment, which they need, right? So you need to help the the customers that you serve navigate what they need to do so they know how to do it. And you can do that, but you got to get the expertise and then give it to them in a way that is valuable. It's all about today, the relationship building of your future of your business is all about how do you provide more and better value.
Yeah.
Another concept that actually came from a sales manager at a distributorship that I was talking to, he said, you need to right now, well, let me step back. As you talk to your front lines, let's say your front lines, you've got them secured, they've heard communication from you, they know that their livelihood is secure or whatever their situation is. You've done your people part first. You've got your people on board. You've given them guidance and leadership. Now you're going to say, listen, we need to go out and we need to talk to all of our customers.
Yep.
Not only because you need to forecast your demand because you're still running a business and you still need to deliver to them and for them. You need to go out and talk to your customers because you need to know the mindset of every one of your customers on that you serve as the frontline sales. You need to know you need to know what's going on with every one of them. And then we need to gather that feedback and then provide the value that they need. And as you go out and talk to them, you need to understand, and this goes out to your front lines, you need to understand the model of the distributorship. You need to understand, many distributors, they with many of your customers, you collect the money after they get the things in many cases.
Yep.
And you're sitting out there in a huge accounts receivable that you can't afford to lose. Right? Well, we're not going to go out and tell our customers that, but you don't want your customers going out of business. You don't even need to collect the money today, but you need to make sure that you know that probably someday you could hopefully collect that money someday.
Yeah.
So going out and having conversations, not about what you can't do, but what you can do. Things like, hey, you're 2 weeks not paid. And let's talk about your business. How are you doing? What's going on with your employees? Listen, learn.
Yep.
I say, well, we don't know. So here's what I can do for you. Let's set aside the 2 weeks that you're not able to pay right now, but I can still deliver for you if you can come up with X, and it's going to be cash pay now, but let's set aside the amount that maybe you'll make payments towards that. But what I can do is allow you to keep operating. If you are bringing in cash, we can bring you your supplies.
Sure.
Because that will keep you in business, and we'll work out the other part later.
Yep.
It's what you can do to help now will be forever, because not only is it amazing for your customers, it also serves your business model so you don't go out of business, which is important for all your employees and for you and everyone. But you don't lead with that, but your employees need to understand what's the strategy and how are you doing it and why is it important for all of us. So that's an important thing, that the front lines understand and have the tools and the direction and the understanding of what to say and what not to say.
Cool. Can I jump in there just for a second, Jerry? I love this, and I think I'm going to go back, connect that to something you said earlier, that this is a time, right, to move the organization to that consultative posturing that, quite frankly, we've been talking about for 30 years. And still, 80 or more % of sales organizations have had trouble getting there. And this is really an opportunity. I believe this. And tell me, because our sales teams' backs are against the wall, they have these questions. This is a time to coach like hell. This is a time to train like crazy. This is the time to get around the Zoom, the virtual class, and really talk about what is the new type of conversation that we need to have. And really what we're saying is become that consultant that we wanted you to come 10 years ago, but now now the position is there, where they'll be more receptive to that and ready to learn. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And it's on us as leaders, as ownership groups, as executives of distributorships, as coaches, consultants, all that, to provide those frontline people the tools, the training in order to do that. We've always needed to do that. Today, it's more important than ever, and the information that they're going to need to deliver is maybe different or new. It's our opportunity to change now. And as I was thinking about this morning, prepping for this, right now is the time. If you've wanted to shift, adjust, upgrade the culture of your organization, now is the time to do it. If you've ever felt like there's a, let's say, a gap between your millennials and your Xers and your boomers that are in your sales force, here's who's going to serve the best right now is the millennials, because you know what they want to do? They want to give back to people, give back to the world. They want to be folks that like are part of an organization that isn't only about themselves, you're also about the world.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we all have to do now.
Yeah.
We all have to be about others and about the world and about we're all in this together. This is who millennials have always been. It's like, you know, now maybe we need to get them off the beaches, you know, they put that on the news anymore.
So, good idea.
Like,
Yeah.
please, millennials, like, you can't spread this to grandma, grandpa. You can't spread it to your family, your neighbor, like whatever. And
Yeah.
the problem is they don't watch mainstream media that we all watch. They're like getting all their information on Facebook, which is fine, which is wonderful, as long as it's accurate. But
Cool.
these are the people that want to go out and give. And so give them the chance to go to, in the guidance and the training, the tools to go do it.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it, Jerry. Thank you. So what are you thinking in terms of, and maybe we've alluded to them, but what do you see companies doing, you know, the mistakes that they're making right now?
Well, for you know, I actually saw someone not in the distribution industry, but in a different industry that was on some webinar thing, and he's like, "Well, now's the time. Now's the time. I'm doubling down. I'm doubling the size of my sales force." I'm like, dude, no one is in a buying mindset right now. Like, it just, so if you're out there still,
Let me stop you just for a second. I want everybody to write that down. I want everybody to write that down. Our customers are not in a buying, how do you say it? Mode right now. Mindset.
Yeah.
Right? They're not in a buying mode set. And I've seen some distributors, right, talk to their sales team about, you know, setting goals for the week in terms of product presentations, you know, virtually right now, making sure that we get this insight that 10 weeks or 4 weeks ago, the manufacturer set goals for us to get this information back, right? And they're still pushing those goals. And I'm saying, stop, no, we're still pushing. We got to change that. Go.
This is our chance to become a listening organization. We've always needed to be a listening organization because the foundation of all marketing is insights. What do they want more of, less of? What do they hope for? What do they fear? Insights, hope for, fears. Go ask those questions now. And then bring the answers back to your sales meeting or to your virtual sales meeting or whatever you're doing. And frankly, those might have been some of the answers that the manufacturers wanted anyway.
Yeah.
But even if that's not what they wanted, it's way more valuable than whatever product knowledge or information they were wanting, right? People just aren't in that mindset. So don't be selling anything. And if you're doing email blasts or auto email blasts or any, like, you got to stop that stuff. I mean, you can't be out there pushing out, blasting out. Oh, and the other thing is, by the way, everyone has got every email in their inbox is called COVID-19 something or other. Listen, you don't need to help them with COVID-19 information. You know who's doing that? Like everybody, and the CDC, and like people like, I think it's like I don't remember what it was, but it's something.gov. It's all there. Like, it's all there, right? What you can help them with is things that are relevant to them, that are expertise of yours. Your title of your email should be, you know, 5 steps electrical contractors must take now to weather the storm, you know, right? Because I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna read that, and it's gonna, and then I'm gonna call you and be like, wait, how do I do the whatever? And do you guys have a resource for, like, you know, right now, if I'm a food distributor, I darn well better have a resource to help get my restaurant owners selling online, like taking orders online.
Yep.
I mean, and training on how to do that, and how do you, and the packaging. I need the packaging to this afternoon, guys, because I'm not a takeout restaurant, right?
Right.
So what's your equivalent of that in the distribution that you do?
I love it, hey, Jerry. So I have a question here that relates to this. I like it from Lisa. Thanks for sending it in. She says, do you have any suggestions for when customers don't seem to be interested in talking at all? Often they don't want people visiting their businesses right now, right?
Yep. Wait, it's hard to say unless you were to know, and this would be good to try to find out why. For sure, visiting businesses live, not the thing not the thing to do, for sure. The question is, why don't they want to talk to you? Probably, maybe if I was guessing, and I don't know the answer in your cases of your customers, one reason is maybe, and this is a cultural problem that sometimes we have as sales professionals, is that they think you're going to come out and try to sell them something and they're not in the buying mindset. I don't want to talk to you because
Jerry,
you're.
I think it's 5 words, 5 letters, right? Value. I think if they see you as delivering value, however they defined value 10 days ago and today, right? If they see that value,
Mhm.
and I know that's an overused term, but even just what you said, that email subject line, the 5 things that electrical contractors should be doing during the crisis. There, you're adding value rather than trying to sell them something.
Absolutely, and I had written that down and underlined it. And maybe it's cliche, but it's also true. The question is, how do you add more value? You should be brainstorming with your team on how do you add more value today, because here's something that you can do. Figure out the value that you can add that other distributors, your competitors in your market, what are they not doing? What are they not willing to do? What are they not able to do that you can do right now with your resources that you can provide? Because that's how, if you think about the long-term impact of this, not to be greedy today, because you shouldn't be, but long-term, you need to still be in business and you want to have the most customers.
Yeah.
Well, the way you do that is by listening, learning, giving them something that other people aren't giving them today, and not selling them something and not showing up if they don't want you there live, which they
So
don't.
how about this, Jerry? How about this? Here's what's going through my mind based on what you're saying. If I was a sales manager in a distributorship right now, based on the last 15-minute conversation with you, what I would do is I would say to my sales team on Monday, I would say, guys, we're going to meet via Zoom at 1 o'clock on Friday, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to have a whiteboard session on Friday. And what I need you to do, and we're going to role play this up until noon on Monday, I need you to go out and have conversations to understand the insights, the mindsets of the customers, what they want more of, the hope and the hopes they have and the fears, right? And we're going to role play. We're going to figure out how to have those conversations because we typically don't have those conversations. So we'll spend the first part of Monday figuring out how to have those conversations. On Monday, we're going to come back and we're going to have a whiteboard session where together we're going to have columns. What's on their mind? What are they? Go ahead.
And I would add to your list of that I gave you, hope, fear.
Yeah.
What if we add, what are they confused about, right? Because
Cool.
we're trying to dig up insights, right? And what I think is going on out there right now for a lot of really smaller business owners, they're confused, they have questions, they're not sure of the answers. I'll give you an example. And this is, I think, is an opportunity for distributors, is to partner with your associations, because your association should have some of these answers and should be giving some of these answers. So I'm a professional speaker and consultant. That's what I do. Well, there's a National Speakers Association.
Yep.
And I'm out, by the way, every conference is canceled. So you know how much business I have? None. Even my in-company work where I come into the companies, we can't do it because you know what? I'm not going to make someone in your company uncomfortable that we're having an 8-person meeting or a 10 or a 12. We're not going to do it because someone is not going to be comfortable. So I got nothing. Before this, I was out cleaning my goat pen out. I put on a nice shirt for you guys.
Thank you.
I was painting my fence. So I'm painting my fence the other day. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, as a speaker, if I don't have any, I work for myself. If I don't have any business, now I would never do this, but I wondered, could a speaker who collect unemployment? I have no idea. I have no idea how that works. But here's what your electrical contractor might think. I got 3 1099 employees. Can they collect unemployment? Or not? Or do they qualify? Or here's the confusion and the questions that small business owners, you can help them know the answers to things that are on their minds. Because they're like, and if you start to help them, say, listen, there's 5 things or 3 things or 10 things that we learned that are super valuable to you. One is, what do you do with your 1099 employees? How do you help them? Like, we heard that these checks are coming. Do you have to apply for the check or is it going to show up? Like, they're watching all this stuff too. To the extent that you can be in partnership with them, you're the expert they need. The association should know this.
And wouldn't it be cool, Jerry, if we committed as an organization as a result of this conversation, right, to spend the next week, to have those voice of customer calls, to really understand that depth of what they're looking for, put it up on a wall, right? And now then we can go and figure out what we can do with those insights.
And I want you to open the call, or somewhere in the call, talk about the things that you can do already today. Here's what we can do for you as your distributor partner.
Got it.
Because if you, let's say that your contractor or whoever it might be buys from a couple different distributors.
Yeah.
If you're making the call saying, I want to talk to you about what we can do to help you, but I also want to learn and listen. What are the questions you have? What are you struggling with? And then also the potential maybe is you create a community out of this, because people are starting to be isolated and feel lonely. Maybe you get all your contractors or whoever it is that you serve as a distributor. Maybe you have some Zoom calls, group,
on a
whatever.
Sunday webinar like this.
So yeah, because I think that maybe it could have some traction, because people are wondering, or you bring in some outside expertise about some of the things that you find out that they're confused about. Like you say, hey, on Sunday or whatever, we're going to have a whole thing on video of a thing. Now you're providing value, but that they really need.
So let me do something. We got 3 minutes here, okay,
Okay.
Jerry?
Okay.
So Jerry, no, I'm gonna go back, because you haven't used this word yet, and
Yep.
and I really believe your whole premise of because ties into what we're doing here. Can you share with everybody the premise of the word because, and then tie it into what we've been talking about here, please?
Yeah, I should have brought this up earlier. So I want to explain this in the shortest possible window possible. Last time you gave a referral for something, for a restaurant, for an auto repair shop, whatever, you said, oh, you got to go down to that restaurant because,
Yeah.
and then you filled in the most compelling words you could think of to make that referral.
Yeah.
And our brains, let me put this to you really simply, need a rational reason to make an emotional decision.
Say that one more time.
Your brain needs a rational reason to make an emotional decision.
Yep.
Have you ever seen a really emotional TV ad? You cried and then you couldn't remember what the ad was for? Yeah, it doesn't sell you anything, right? But what what the brain science shows us is that they need some proof. And so what's going to happen is, after you give all this value, you're going to say, I only buy from this distributorship because during the COVID-19 scare, they gave me actionable tools that I put to work that saved my business.
Say that one more time. I want everybody to write that down.
Yeah, I only buy from this distributor. That's because this is their proof that they're going to give to that next contractor. Because during the downturn, during COVID-19, they gave me strategies that literally saved my business, right? That's what we need, a powerful piece of proof, something to point to. Now, the because also works in the future for whatever product you sell, for getting a person to work for your company, for when you get into the sales cycle later in a normal marketing and sales cycle, what's the proof of why I should work with you as a distributor versus anybody else?
Beautiful. Love it.
I mean, that's the crux of it.
I love it.
3 minutes or less.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's a lot more to it. So Jerry, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, man. So guys, in the window, would you just type down what you think about Jerry and the like as we begin to bring Brian in? And Jerry, I hear things like, thanks, this is amazing. Steve Fried, we will next your question. Thank you. He said, somebody says, this guy is amazing. This has been awesome. I don't know if they were talking about you or me, but
you clearly, yeah.
They were talking about you. They said, does he really have a goat pen?
I do.
All right, that's another time. All caps, rocking it, man. Loved it. Thanks for the great insights, long-term view, thoughtful insights, fantastic, great stuff. Thank you, real good stuff. Love it. Changes it all. Listen to this. Changes it all for what they're thinking about going forward, buddy. Let's end it on that one. There's a lot more here.
That's great. So if you want to visit my website, it's whatbigbrandsknow.com. And my email address is up there. You can email me. I'd love to hear from you, because I'm actually not doing much right now. So if people want to reach out, shoot me emails, please do, because I'm around. I'm just hanging out literally with Carl, my goat. There's my goat.
Is Carl getting tired of you, bud?
Kind of. Well, Carl and Craig and Desmond, they're getting a lot of attention.
Send Jerry an email, please. The goats need a break from Jerry, okay? Jerry, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. All right.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too, my friend. Thanks. Be well. Holy cow, you guys. Is there absolute gold in there? Without question. Super insightful.